Welcome back to Impact. We're continuing our discussion with the opposition leader, Andrew Holness. Mr. Opposition Leader, quickly, a few internal party politics. How is the reunification, settling down of the party going?
You know, early in the day, we established Project Unity, and that project is ongoing. We've been having good success. I think the party is coming together. Yeah. After such a bruising, blistering race, it takes time. I'm not going to tell the Jamaican people that everybody is hugging up. There's still some, resentment, still some suspicions. But I think by and large, as the machinery rolls, people are getting on board.
You did say in the aftermath of the November 2013 leadership challenge that you would look at the structure of your shadow cabinet sometime this year.
Yep, and we have been, as you can see.
You have been naming junior spokespersons,
yes,
but any changes coming to the senior cabinet?
At least two will come. At least two will come in this month.
In this month?
Yes.
Who are those?
I almost answered it.
Okay, the Portmore mayoral by-election.
Yes. The last time we spoke, I told you we had three candidates.
Three aspirants.
Three aspirants. We now have two.
Who are those?
One is Reverend Shetlewood, and one is Mr. Lloyd Black. Reverend Shetlewood obviously is a very well-known member of the church community, and Mr. Black is a former banker and businessman in Portmore.
Oh, so one of them will be chosen how soon?
Very soon. In fact, I would say early next week.
Yes? And in terms of your preparations for the next general elections, or your candidate selection going?
Candidate selection is ongoing. It's not moving as fast as I would want it to. It's always a challenge. Everybody's holding on now. Some people, you're not certain what they're doing. We're trying to get everybody on the same page, the page of victory. Once that is clear and everybody understands where we're going, the process will speed up.
In terms of going back to your budget presentation, you made this suggestion of a grand referendum.
Yes.
Yeah? Tell me a little bit about what is the thinking behind that?
The thinking behind that is that, again, it's part of the 50-year thought process. What will Jamaica be 50 years from now? In 50 years from now, will we still be debating legalizing marijuana? That was a debate which started 50 years ago. Will we still be debating the CCJ? That was a debate started 50 years ago. Will we still be talking about the removal of the Queen? The debate started 50 years ago. And there's so many social issues that are part and parcel of modernizing Jamaica, which needs to be done. I've seen some comment about, well, that's the duty of Parliament. Obviously, Parliament doesn't feel competent enough to do it, which is why it hasn't been done. Because within the Parliament, how the Parliament works is that the party system determines the direction of the Parliament. But the party system itself doesn't seem to be able to come to conclusions on these issues. So these are really important issues. Is that debate
taking place in your party?
Oh, Lord. We just invited in, for example, on the marijuana debate, all the sides, all the important persons who have been speaking on the issue, and our standing committee, as I'd promised, had that big debate with them. And it's some are against it, some are not. It hasn't moved the dial, so it definitely needs continued public discourse.
And in that 50-year vision, you did mention earlier in this program about tolerance.
Obviously.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the society is very, very intolerant of different views. But I detect, especially among the younger generation, a sense of openness, a sense of understanding tolerance. Tolerance is taught in religious education and social studies in schools. So,
and by tolerance, you're talking, let's put it on the table, the gay issue.
Yes.
The issues to do with the minorities, the elderly, the disabled.
Yes, and I think if you listen to what is being said in Jamaica now, and internationally as well, we have a Pope that has given, I think, a wonderful direction. We have to love everybody. The fear, I think, of most Jamaicans is that, tolerance means acceptance, and that it would change the nature and fabric of the society. So there's a debate that needs to be had as to exactly where.
Would you disqualify someone who is able?
No.
From your cabinet because that person is gay?
Absolutely not. I've said that already. I don't use someone's sexuality to determine whether or not they should serve the public. That's not how I have operated. And I don't discriminate. I have been on the end of discrimination. And so I don't discriminate against people. Whatever my personal views may be, there is a public space, and the public space must guarantee everyone protection and the ability to fulfill their dreams and aspirations. And that is what I'm offering to Jamaicans, a public space where you can fulfill yourself.
But do you think Jamaicans would ever vote to decriminalize, to change the Buggery law as is in a referendum?
I couldn't proscribe. I couldn't say what the outcome would be.
But what would you campaign for? What would you suggest
tolerance.
they do?
Tolerance.
And by tolerance, that would mean...
So tolerance, it
would mean a repeal of the law?
No, I can't say that.
No, for you, I'm talking about
me,
for you
what
now,
I'm saying
as
to you,
political leader.
What I'm saying to you, as political leader, we would have to get an indication, which is what the referendum would do.
There was a famous murder trial which ended some weeks ago. And except for the Minister of National Security, I certainly have not heard any national leader speak to what has been raging in this country about what we learned in that trial, what he represents to different people.
You know, I agree
I'm
with
talking
you.
about Vibes Cartel.
Yeah, but I made comments that weren't carried. Just
well,
to be
let
clear,
me hear
right.
your comments.
My comments.
For example, where do you stand on what his music represents and what he represents?
You know, Vibes Cartel is obviously, without question, a very talented DJ in his genre. If you listen to some of his lyrics, take aside the objectification of women, the promotion of violence, but just the crafting of the lyrics, he certainly has that talent. You know what the pity of all of that is? That his talent could not have been honed in a way that would make him a bigger star internationally. That's one thing. Secondly, the society must send a signal. Vibes Cartel, being interviewed by you, said that he doesn't allow his children to listen to some of the lyrics. That is the hypocrisy of the music industry. There must be a clear stand that it's not enough to say that, well, I'm just representing what the people are saying. As a musician, and particularly in Jamaica, you're leaders. And so your music must not just reflect the people going the bad way, but to uplift. Where is the upliftment in the music? What has happened to Cartel? The justice system has run its course. And I would think that others should learn from that. That the society, I think, quietly, privately, still cowering, still afraid, not wanting to say, but when they go home, they are happy that their children would not have to be subjected to lyrics that might mislead them.
There seems to be a reluctance among the political class to discuss these social issues, not only in the classrooms, in your meetings, in your parties, but on the campaign trail. Is that something you'd want to change so we move?
You know, it's funny. I'll tell you, Cliff, I've had to face these issues. I deal with these issues on my platform all the time. But yet people say, well, you know, I don't deal with Ray Ray. It's just part of the confusion that comes out when people speak. These are important issues, and I deal with them, but yet I'm being accused I don't deal with Ray Ray. As if to say, all the Jamaican people want is Ray Ray. I don't buy that. I think the Jamaican people want to hear substance.
One final one. The Prime Minister in her budget presentation referred to the 4 years between September 2007 and December 2011 as the missing years that during your time you played your part in mashing up this country and the economy. Yeah? That's,
you know,
that hurts.
The weight of history, no, of course not. Listen, that's a lightweight comment. The weight of history. I mean, if anyone with any rigor is going to analyze 4 years versus 20 years, and you're going to say that our 4 years mash up the country, we placed on the table, and they haven't challenged it. All you hear Peter Phillips talking about the current debt crisis. I'm not talking about the debt crisis which happened in the 70s when the nature of our debt was international financial institutions, World Bank, IMF, had over 80% of the debt. And then we could blame other people for our debt. I am talking about the crisis that happened since FinSAC, since the opening up of our local capital market here for government paper, and since us going on the international capital market, where we can't really blame anybody for that. Those are our decisions, plus the bad decisions on cap, deferred financing, all those decisions. Those are things that the PNP did. And what really irks, it's not the statement, what irks is that there are Jamaicans who would want to blind themselves to the fact that we are now suffering as a consequence of the bad decision, not just the bad decision of Omar Davies, but people have supported them actively and would seek to hide that information and obfuscate and twist it and turn it. The fact is that our current debt crisis started in 1993. And we are paying for cap, which was a forward sale of bauxite at a fixed price without the protections for the public, just as we are doing now with this EWI project, right? Which we are now, which, you know, the hurtful thing of that, we had to pay to produce the bauxite at a price much higher than we secured when we forward sold the bauxite. That's a bad decision.
Mr. Holness, people are watching you.
Yes.
That's your camera. Yeah? They're watching you. And they're making decisions about you. They're trying to, as we say in Jamaica, size you up.
Yes.
We are fatigued when it comes to political leadership. We invest in so many of your predecessors. And we are so poor today. We are so coarser, much more coarser today. There's so much more hopelessness. And they're looking at you in media forums like these, and they're sizing you up. Talk to them. Why should they?
I would say,
a 27-year-old woman, 27, 35, she probably has a child or two. She's not married. She's into a visiting relationship with a man who hardly provides her with any financial support. He provides other emotional comfort. And she's struggling with her children. And yet when she listens to most of you in the parliament, you talk about the very poor and vulnerable. She is working poor. If she misses a paycheck, she's in deep trouble. She's what you call neither working poor or middling classes. And you all seem to have abandoned that section of people. People who are getting on with their lives despite the politics.
Everything that I've said today.
She wants you to talk to her. I'm going to give you an opportunity. You have a minute. Just talk to those people for me.
Abdication of our responsibility as citizens to hold government accountable is not a solution to our problem. Saying all of them is the same thing is not a solution to our problem. The solution to our problem is for us to believe again, but this time to participate in the process in effective ways. Make your voice heard. Identify good leadership and support good leadership. Put aside partisan interests, traditional political interests, and look now for your interest and the interest of the country. I give myself to this country, and I pledge to do everything within my powers to make this country grow, to make this country a place where we can all feel proud of, where we can fulfill our dreams and aspirations. I ask you to believe again, to take a chance again. Together, we can achieve.
Thank you, AndrewHolness, for being with us on Impact, sir. Thank you very much. That's our program for this week. We want to leave you with a message from our friends at Alimac Institute.